All of these poems I'm reading you are designed to support two very short, fragile poems in this book. Poems that have taken me nearly 12 years to realize. The book involves me writing a very short poem, and then through a process of encipherment, I would translate it into a genetic sequence. And then with the assistance of a laboratory, I would build that gene in the lab and actually implant it into the genome of an unkillable bacterium. So the organism would become the living embodiment of my text. Moreover, I've written the poem in such a way that when the organism reads that gene sequence, it interprets it as a set of instructions for building a protein. And the sequence of amino acids in such a protein, according to my original chemical alphabet, create themselves a totally different but meaningful poem. So in effect, I'm trying to genetically engineer a bacterium so it becomes not only an archive for storing my poem, it also becomes a machine for writing a poem in response. And this bacterium is a very old organism that's capable of repairing its own DNA so quickly that it does not evolve, and consequently it's a very durable archive for such a text. And because it is an extrudophile capable of surviving all kinds of hostile environments, it's a very robust archive. You can scorch it, freeze it, wither it, and it does not die. It can survive in the open vacuum of outer space. It can even survive 1,000 times the dosage of gamma radiation that would instantly kill you. It is widely regarded as one of the most deathless things on the planet. And some scientists have speculated that in order for it to have acquired all of these multiple environmental immunities, it must have spent at least part of its evolutionary history in outer space. It must be at least partially extraterrestrial in its evolutionary history. So what I'm going to do for you right now is read the two short poems, the one I've written and the one that the organism writes in response. And I've nicknamed these two poems Orpheus and Eurydice, given the slightly hellish overtones of the book. This is the Xenotext. This poem is Orpheus. It's the poem that I have written. Any style of life is prim. Oh, stay, my lyre, with wily poise moan the riff of any tune aloud. Moan now my fate. In fate we rely. My myth now is the word of life. The organism would read this poem, and in response it writes this poem. And when it writes this poem, it actually causes the organism to glow red in the dark. It fluoresces red. And that's how you know, in fact, that it is writing the poem. This is Eurydice. The fairy is rosy of glow. In fate we rely. Moan more grief with any loss. Any loss is the aching trick. With him we stay. Oh, stay, my lyre. We wean him of any milk. Any milk is rosy. Now, the punchline, I suppose, to the story is that I'm on the verge of, hopefully, succeeding at this process. I've managed to get these two poems to operate properly inside a sample of E. coli, a culture of E. coli. But now I'm hoping to get them to work in the extremophile Dinococcus radioadirans. If I'm successful, I would effectively be writing a book that could be on the planet Earth long after the extinction of terrestrial civilization, and may in fact be on the planet Earth when the sun explodes. I'm really trying to write an immortal book.